All right, so let's talk about Narnia. For so many of us, it's this huge part of our childhood, right? But pretty much from the get go, we're told there's this simple key, this secret code to unlock it all. Well, today, we're going to see what happens when that simple code just isn't the whole story.
You know the drill, I'm sure. Aslan, the big, majestic lion, he's Jesus. The White Witch, she's Satan. Edmund, the traitor, he's the sinner. It's all this neat one-to-one allegory. It seems so obvious, doesn't it? Case closed. But what if I told you that was kind of the shallow reading?
And this is where it gets really, really interesting. Because the guy who dreamed all this up, C.S. Lewis, he actually wasn't a huge fan of that idea. He felt that seeing Narnia as just a simple allegory totally misses the point. It misses the deeper magic he was trying to create. To really get what he was doing, you have to look at Lewis's own philosophy. See, he wasn't trying to draw a map where every single spot in Narnia lines up perfectly with a point in Christian theology. No, he was trying to do something way bigger. He was creating a myth. And there it is, straight from the source. Lewis himself said he wasn't hammering out allegories. He thought allegory was, a bit clumsy, just translating ideas into pictures. What he was up to, he said, was something totally different. He called it a suppositional truth. Okay, so this is the absolute key. Lewis wasn't asking, what would Jesus be like if he were a lion? That's allegory. He was asking a much bigger, much wilder question. Let's just suppose a world like Narnia really existed, and that the Son of God chose to become incarnate there. And what form would he take? He'd become a lion. You see the difference? It's not a symbol. It's a whole other incarnation of the same divine event. Think about it like this. An allegory is a map. It's flat. Aslan just represents Christ. But with the suppositional truth, it's more like an echo. Aslan is the Christ of Narnia. It's not some code you have to crack. It's what Lewis called the true myth, the greatest story, happening all over again, but in a totally different world with its own rules. So how does this whole idea actually change the story we all know and love? Let's take a look at the foundation Lewis builds in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. This completely reframes everything. The standard, quote reading says, okay, the stone table is the cross, Aslan sacrifices the crucifixion. Easy. But Lewis's echo idea gives these things their own deep, internal Narnian history and meaning. Let's just take the stone table. In this view, it's not just a stand-in for the cross. It is this ancient place of deep magic that belongs to Narnia itself. So when it breaks, it's not just a symbol. It's a historical event in Narnia, showing the triumph of an even deeper magic over an old, rigid law that belongs to that world. It gives the place its own soul. And the same exact thing is true for Edmund. He's not some cardboard cutout labeled the sinner. He becomes a real flesh and blood character who shows us something true about all of us, that very real capacity for betrayal and selfishness. But also, and this is the important part, the profound possibility of redemption in starting over through grace. It's a real story, not just a Sunday school lesson. And believe me, this wasn't just a one-off idea for the first book. Lewis actually built this suppositional theology across the entire 7-book series. It starts with this foundational story of sacrifice, and then it evolves into something so much bigger. Because think about it, once you've established that core event, Aslan's incarnation and atonement in Narnia, you can then use that world as a sandbox to explore all the other parts of a theological worldview. And that is precisely what Lewis does. The camera kind of zooms in. It shifts from the huge, world-saving, cosmic event of Aslan's sacrifice to the messy, deeply personal, internal struggles of faith that real people actually go through. Oh, and the best example of this has to be Eustace in The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. His greed literally turns him into a dragon, and he can't change himself back. It's only when Aslan comes and literally tears off his dragon skin, this painful, violent flaying, that he can be reborn as a boy. It's such a powerful picture of what regeneration feels like. You have to be unmade before you can be remade. So after exploring sacrifice and personal transformation, there's really only one place left to go. The series moves toward its logical, epic conclusion, the end of the world itself. The last battle is basically Lewis's Narnian book of Revelation. It tackles these huge concepts, the end of the world, what divine judgment really looks like, and this beautiful final vision of heaven, a truer Narnia, a more real reality beyond the shadow world they thought was home. The entire suppositional project is finally complete.
Okay, so we've gone from a simple code to this complex alternate reality. But why does this difference between a map and a myth actually matter? Why is it so important?
Well, for starters, it actually respects what the author was trying to do, which is always a good thing, but honestly, more than that, it just makes the story better. Narnia stops being this simple little puzzle you solve, and it becomes this rich, imaginative world with its own history, its own magic, its own soul. The story becomes so much more profound because the meaning grows from within the world itself. It's not just a coded lesson, it's a truly moving exploration of faith.
At the end of the day, the Chronicles of Narnia aren't some secret code waiting for you to crack it. They're an invitation to wonder, to suppose, to imagine a world where the greatest story ever told could happen all over again, but this time with the roar of a lion.
And that kind of leaves you with one last question, doesn't it? If Narnia is an echo of a true myth, what other stories that we love might be doing the same thing? What other imaginative worlds are out there echoing a deeper reality, just waiting for us to look past the simple map and really hear the music?